This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by British ring legend Ricky Hatton here in London. Ricky, firstly, how are you?
Yeah, great. Looking forward to the boxing tonight. Yeah, brilliant.
Obviously, it's a big show ahead of us, but let's go on and talk about yourself. Ricky, obviously getting ready now for November 12th. You haven't actually done like a full training camp as it were for over 10 years since the Senchenko fight. How did you find getting back into training? How did your body find it and how did you cope with it?
Body found it extremely hard, to be honest with you, because in 10 years I hadn't jumped the bar. We have an exercise that Billy Graham had and I had for all the years when we call it bar bag. We used to do the body belt. We used to do my weight training and to start me sprints and my road work and everything. It was really a proper shock to the system. But after 2 or 3 weeks, that body memory just started come straight back to me, to be honest with you, and. Started going through the gears, to be honest. So I've been, when it got cancelled 2 weeks before, I was obviously absolutely devastated because of the hard work I'd done and the weight I'd lost and everything like that. But things happen for a reason. I think it's been for the best, really, because as that was my first training camp in 10 years, this is my second training camp in 10 years. So obviously having 2 training camps has been a lot better. And I, when it got postponed, I carried on, stayed in the gym, stayed in training, and it's done me a damn sight better, yeah.
People obviously remember during your career, you was one to kind of enjoy your life outside of the ring. You'd go up in weight. I mean, you'd have to really kind of work to get that back off. But being back in the gym now, do you feel like beyond November 12th, you'll look to keep yourself in kind of better condition?
Absolutely. It's a lifestyle change for me now. I mean, it's madness to think. I mean, and even though mentally I was in a good place, physically, I used to look at myself in the mirror, when I was about 15 stone, I used to think, oh, you don't look too bad there, Rick. But, I got invited to go to an awards, present some awards in Manchester. And I'd not used my suit for, one of my suits for like months. And I went and got my suit out and it absolutely drowned me. And it scared me to death, to be honest with you. I mean, it was all right when I was in training because I always knew I'd be back in the training camp in like 6-7 weeks time, but I'm 44 now and there's no more training camps coming up. It's got to be something I've got to do for me health and me well-being. So I know everyone loved fat little Ricky Hatton, but I'm very proud to say he's gone now. Yeah, definitely.
I know it's all ifs, buts and maybes, but do you ever look back and think if maybe the way boxing's evolved with all the nutritionists, strength and conditioning coaches and what have you, and the amount of times fighters are training each day alongside all of that, if you'd have stuck to those paths and you'd have maybe been a bit more stricter with your diet, what more do you feel you could have achieved in your career?
I don't think I could have achieved any more, to be honest. I think I could have, but maybe got a few more years out of me. Do you know what I mean? Or, maybe my performances could have been a little bit better, because obviously I did it with one hand tied behind my back. But no, I think I became the best light welterweight, in the world. I was involved in one of the best wins ever in a British ring when I beat Kostya. I became a 2-weight world champion. I took all them fans to Vegas. I boxed at the City of Manchester Stadium. These were all bucket lists, that I wanted to take. And until I made me comeback against Senchenko, which I made that comeback for other reasons. I fell by the wayside a little bit, and I was in a very, very, very bad place. So I felt I needed to make the comeback for my own personal reasons. But and I beat Kostya, who was number 2 pound for pound in the world, but. And the only 2, apart from Senchenko, beat me was the 2 best of all time, arguably. So could he have done any more? Maybe not. But I think I could have got a little bit better for myself, yeah.
Let's touch on one of the main reasons we're here. Obviously, Marco Antonio Barrera, the man sharing the ring with you come November 12th. Ricky, firstly, why Marco?
It's just he's a fantastic name. He's a legend in the sport, and. And Marco's been a friend of mine for forever and a day, you know what I mean? And when they turned around and said, when they offered me to do this exhibition, I thought, oh, right, well, who have you got in mind? Because if it had been, if it had been someone that I'd never met, one Manuel Marquez, for instance, who I've never met before in my life, and I don't know him, I don't know what he's like as a person. if that had come forward, it could have got a bit heated, because once that crowd roared, I don't know him, and but with Marco, it's because we're friends, we're going to make it exciting, because me and Marco would never want fans walking away from our fights, or whether it be an exhibition, going, wasn't that a bore? Wasn't that a waste of time? There's absolutely no way me and Marco are having that happen. So it will be entertaining, and it will, but there've been no liberties taken, and I think that's very important for the, it'll be exciting. Marco, used to do 12 3-minute rounds at pace, me and Marco, you know what I mean? So 8-2s, it will be a little bit frantic, let's say. So, no, I think I'm the winner because of my well-being, and now lost me weight. It's got me looking after myself. The fact that I can hear the roar of the crowd again is going to be unbelievable for me. The fact that I'm sharing a ring with Marco Antonio Barrera, we all know how good he was, but I'm going to get the chance to find out firsthand just how good he was. And to be honest with you, I feel like I've proved a lot of people, I give a lot of people a lot of hope, and people have been coming up to me, Ricky, seeing how you've lost your weight, you know what I mean? It's inspiring. And Ricky, a few years ago, you were suicidal, and you with your depression and your mental health and stuff like that. And look here now, it's unbelievable. And it's, it's been good for my well-being, but it's also been good for a lot of others' well-being, where they can look and say, look where Ricky was a few years ago and look at him now. And so there's no negatives to pick from this exhibition, I believe.
I know it's classed as an exhibition, Ricky, but you've just mentioned that you won't let the fans leave without feeling entertained. How different do you feel it will be on the night, though? When you're in there and you're trading leather, will the juices start flowing again? Will you start kind of questioning what more beyond it?
No, I mean, when you spar in the gym, it's got to be realistic. It's got to be competitive. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? Do you know what I mean? So, and I think in a spar, we all know as professional boxers, in a spar you go for it. And if you clip them with a body shot that's a little bit on the on the big side, or you clip him and and anything like that, to ease off, and you know what I mean, and give him time to clear the head. But I mean, you put it on your sparring partner, of course you do. But you don't take liberties. If you know what's not enough and what's too much. And me and Marco will know exactly the same. And it's the fact that it got postponed. I'd just like to mention the fact that it got postponed from July 2nd to November 12th. The July 2nd one was going to be, it was initially on pay-per-view, on a pay-per-view channel, where this one now is going to be on Sky Sports, which, and I know the cost of, people's living these days, is a lot. I'd like all the British fight fans to be able to see it, not just them who's bought a ticket, or not just them that can afford the box office. So it's I know that the price of living is very, very expensive for people now. So for me as a fans person, that was a big plus for me, for it going on Sky Sports, that all the boxing fans can see it for free. If if you can't afford to get there or buy a ticket or watch it on box office, then you wouldn't see it, would you? But now everyone's going to get a chance to see it, which has made me very happy.
Ricky, will this be a one-off?
I haven't looked that far forward, to be honest with you. If it's a success, I mean, I said after the Senchenko fight, and I still sit here and stand by it I still sit here and still mean it when I say that my best days are behind me, to be honest with you. I fought Senchenko, found out I haven't got it anymore, and I haven't got it anymore. So the days of doing the 12-3s and the small gloves are most certainly gone. But I mean, if it's going to be less rounds and shorter rounds and big gloves, and it's with somebody who I know has the same respect as me, and there's an understanding there, I'm just keeping an open mind, see what comes forward. But I mean, when people turn around and say, "Oh, what are you doing it for again?" I mean, God, did you see me a few years ago? Heavy drink problems, drug problems, suicide attempts, mental health attempts, and look at me now. So how can you say that's a negative? And it's been inspiring to others as well, so how can people point a negative finger at these exhibitions? I tell you what, it's doing all right for the Hitman.
Ricky, would you hold any interest in facing, say, one of these YouTuber stars who've crossed over, or social media stars?
I hope this don't come back to bite me on the backside, but no, I don't think I'd be asked fighting a YouTuber. The whole point of doing it is, at 44 years of age is to get your backside in shape, to keep yourself in trim and keep your mind healthy and like that, and it's because I'm fighting Marco Antonio Barrera, you know what I mean? I don't want to, no disrespect to, to any YouTubers. If that's your job, that's your job. But I mean, I'm a fighting man, and if I'm going to do these exhibitions, I want to do it with names and champions, yeah.
With that in mind, then, obviously, you've got Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao both have exhibitions lined up. If either of those guys were open to an exhibition, would you then entertain that?
I'd certainly look at it, depending on how this one goes. I mean, to be honest, well, that's right, depending on how this one's going. I know how this one's going to go. It's going to be mega. It's going to be a right success, and yeah, I mean, if there was a choice, would I do an exhibition with Manny or would I do an exhibition with Floyd all day long? I mean, it's certainly over a YouTuber.
What's it been like training alongside Campbell, Ricky?
It's been very emotional for me. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I don't want to go into go into massive detail, but I mean, I nearly took my own life several times a few years ago. When I suffered with mental health and my depression, and I nearly wasn't here to see Campbell turn pro. I wasn't nearly here to see him grow into the fine young man. I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have saw Campbell's daughter, my granddaughter Lila. I'd have missed out on that. And in the last training camp, I was sparring with Campbell. Who'd have thought we'd have been in a training camp and I'd have been in a training camp at the same time. We'd be sparring each other. So it was very, very emotional for me. It's something, there's a lot of things I've done in boxing, but I don't want to sound soft, but sparring with Campbell was one of the best things I think I've ever done. I mean, the winning the world title and going to Vegas and all them things. But I tell you what, that's not far behind, trust me.
Did you hurt him in sparring?
I don't know. Only he can say that. He wouldn't admit it, wouldn't he? I said to him one time, I said, well done, son. I give him, my take on what he could do better and what he was doing wrong and stuff like that. And I said, but you got me a good body shot round 2. He said, yeah, I thought I'd done you. So I thought, done me. I said, so you was trying to do me? You little shit. But no, it was brilliant. And, I'm going to be sparring with him over the next couple of weeks just before the fight. So, yeah, happy days.
Ricky, just a few I want to rattle through away from yourself. Obviously, Campbell. Fury-Chisora 3 seems to be in the works. What be your thoughts if we saw
that? It's nice to see that, I mean, the AJ fight fell through for Tyson, so I think we're all a little bit devastated about that. So whoever Tyson fought next, it was always going to be a little bit on a downer, but the main thing is Tyson can't be sat there waiting for other people. I'm not saying it was AJ's fault or anything like that. He's got to get on with his career. He's not getting any younger. And I'm made up that Derek's got one last shot, one last payday. I'd like to see Derek hang him up in the very, very near future. I love Derek. He's a top man. And I think he might be just coming to the end. I mean, he's fought Tyson and give him, a good run and, in a competitive fight. And everyone loves Derek like I do. So, yeah, I think it's one that I think we'll watch. Yeah, absolutely.
Ricky, we spoke about your comeback earlier. Kell Brook's talking about a potential comeback at this moment in time. What would you say to him potentially coming back and facing the likes of, say, Eubank Jr. or a Liam Smith?
Well, it's not for me to judge. I made my comeback against Senchenko and people said shouldn't do it, and I had my own reasons for it. And you know what? Kell might have his own reasons for it. I'd have much rather seen him come back in an exhibition bout or something like that. Because, I mean, he looked sensational, against Amir Khan. But, I mean, it's like we're all at that stage of our careers. Me, when I fought Senchenko, Amir, when he fought Brook. You don't know, how good Amir was. On that night, how good of Amir Khan did Kell beat that night? Because obviously, it's not just for Amir, for Ricky Hatton, for sometimes our days are up. So it's very hard to judge, and I hope he doesn't think because he was so exceptional that night. He thinks he's got what he used to have because he probably hasn't, But make comebacks when if he's doing it, he'll have his own reasons, and he's a sensible lad, Kell, with a good team behind him, and I know they'll all make the right decision. And whatever he does, I wish him all the best. I think the world of Kell, yeah.
Ricky, Azim is one of the hottest prospects in boxing right now, especially in the UK, and he's keen to win a world title before he turns 21. As someone who's reached the peaks of boxing yourself, what advice would you give to Azim to help him achieve that?
I wouldn't be too eager you know, to get the belts round your waist and stuff like that. I know in boxing these days, fighters tend to get pitched in for titles a little bit earlier than normal. I mean, I think I was topping the bill on Sky years ago defending an international title. You know, those days are gone now. The TV demands the bigger fights and they demand them a little bit sooner. So I know, but I wouldn't be too keen because I'd learn your trade, you know, get the right opponents, different styles, go through it all, go through the, you know, get the rounds, you know, under your belt. Because believe you me, in this game, the fights will come tough enough sooner or later. You know, learn and earn, just work hard, stay in the gym, look after yourself, look after your body. And his team around him, his promoter, his manager, his trainers, they'll know the right time when to make the right moves. It's just, you've got to be sensible, you know, yeah.
Final one, Ricky. Josh Taylor's moved training teams up with Joe McNally. There's a lot of talk about a potential rematch with Jack Catterall taking place early next year, ahead of a big fight and him potentially down the line moving up in weight. How much can that impact both positive and negative if he was to go ahead with Jack Catterall next?
I think Josh Taylor needs to fight Jack Catterall. And I mean, knowing you know Josh, I've met him a few times. I think he'll probably insist on it. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, it's a little bit disappointed when he took the fight and then blamed the weight. You know, after that's like saying, you know, taking the fight and saying, "Oh, I had a cold." You know what I mean? If you're going to take the fight, you take the fight, and you don't complain about, you know, things after. Oh, I couldn't make the weight. But now the rematch is on, and it looks like it's going to be on at the same weight. So I'm thinking to myself, is someone, you know, what's going on here? But no, I mean, Josh is a fantastic fighter, you know what I mean? And I think Jack surprised us all that night, and I think Jack deserved to win the title. And it was it's a shame because it was a money-changing fight. It was a, you know, a life-changing fight, you know, legacy-changing fight. You know, he'd have had all the belts. Even I didn't have all the belts at once. And, you know, Jack was, and his family were stars, you know, had something magical taken away from him. But it's not Josh Taylor's fault. And if Josh Taylor is coming to the table for a rematch, fair play to Josh Taylor as well. He's doing the honourable and right thing. So if it comes off, I think we'll all look forward to it.
All right, Ricky, I know you've got a few other people to speak to, so I appreciate you stopping to do this. Thank you for speaking to me and ID Boxing.
Pleasure.